Yes! Room on Fire does in fact hold up, and it's one of the greatest records of all time. It is the best Strokes album. It is the best. I love the first record, as I said. I love the third record. First Impressions of Earth. Angles has some good songs. Come Down Machine has some good songs. We're not even talking about the new abnormal. It's dead to me. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Don't listen to it. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Pretend it never happened, because that's what you should do. Okay, if you want to like the Strokes, pretend it doesn't exist. Anyways, we're flexing here. We're looking good. We're feeling good. We tweaked our back a little bit. JK, our back always feels a little bit funny. Here we go. There you go. Hitting a little bit of a bicep. The audio listeners, you don't understand. I'm hitting the biceps. Right now, I'm flexing. I'm listening in my headphones. I'm listening to the Strokes record. So here, dear internet viewer, dear listener, dear podcast enthusiast, dear rock and roll, if you are here as a longtime rocker trying to find out what Gen Z thinks about rock music, you are in the right place. If you're a Gen Z rocker looking for what bands and songs to listen to, what to make your new personality, you're in the right place as well. So today we're going to break down What's Up with Room on Fire, the greatest freaking record the Strokes have ever done. It's impeccable. It makes me want to cry. It makes me want to fight. It makes me want to fornicate. It makes me want to do everything. It's fantastic. But before we get going, send this review to a friend you know who needs better taste in music. They need better taste in music. You know them. You know what they listen to. It's like, it's fine. It's fine. It works. It works. For them, that's good. JK, it's not. You're going to send this to your friend. So you got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you send it? You sent the podcast? Did you send the video? Okay. Well, time to get into the room of my heart that you have now entered into by sending this video to a friend. When was the first time I heard this record? I heard the songs from this record. I heard a little bit of it. You hear the singles. I mean, Reptilia. Talk about Reptilia. You can't not have heard that. But like, I heard that growing up a lot. It was really good. It made me go, the Strokes are good, but I guess I didn't really listen to them. When I was starting out as a kid, I listened to like a lot of Green Day records, and I listened to the first 2 Cage the Elephant records. The third record kind of broke my heart. Then I listened to more like White Stripes, Black Keys, that kind of stuff. But then I am starting school at UCSD. I did my first year online, over COVID. And then I'm in person my sophomore year, one of the 3 years I was in college. And yeah, I sat there and I was driving. I didn't want to pay for parking. I was living at home, which was nice with my parents. But I would drive, and basically you could park for free if you drove all the way to the beach and then walked half an hour to class every day. And so there's a giant dirt lot at Torrey Pond's glider port. And that's how you get down to Black's Beach, which is a nudist beach, the nude beach. One time I actually had these like crusty ladies try and hit on me. And I was a little aroused, but not aroused enough to get involved with the crusty ladies. And the crusty ladies were like, why don't you come down? Like, you look pretty jacked and handsome. And I was like, thank you, of course. But I literally did have to go to, I think, the post office because something got lost. Anyways, and then after that, I wasn't horny anymore, so I didn't drive back to them. I said, screw that. But so that's where I was parking every day. And it was cold. It was winter. I might be listening to a little bit of Rush, but I would put on this album. And I would be listening to Room on Fire. And I'd have the heater on in my car, and it would step out. You're a little bit sweaty. You're almost overheated, but you're still freezing. And it was cold out because you had an early morning class, and you knew you were going to have to walk. And sometimes you could park right at the front of the dirt lot by where the beach entrance is, but a lot of times you'd have to go way, way down. This place could probably fit like 500 cars. But you'd park way, way down, and my shoes would get all covered in dirt. My pants would be all covered in dirt because it's a dirt lot. And then you finally get closer, and you see people at Scripps Institute of Oceanography. You see people at these different places. And, they're all hoity-toity, uptight. There's a lot of international students because they paid like $130,000 a year to go to UCSD. Versus if you were technically at California, you only paid like $15,000. So, of course, the UC university system wanted to bring in as many international students as they could. So you had a lot of Chinese, a lot of Korean, a lot of Indian. You had a lot of different ethnicities, which was all great, fun, good. They were very fun people. But there's a cultural disconnect to a certain extent where they're looking at you, they're judging you, they're like, you look weird. Why aren't you wearing hype beast clothing? Why aren't you doing whatever? Why aren't you dropping 80 bands? Why didn't you feel like a fashionista go into friggin' first quarter, first period? And I was sitting there in an oversized jacket with my Toronto Canadian flag pin I got from my dad. And yeah, and I'd just be wearing my Primus toque. I had my Primus beanie on. And, totally miscoordinated. But I'd be going to class and I'd be taking business economics, which is what I got my degree in. And I'd be walking there and I'd be listening to this record and I would just feel it. I would feel it all. I'd be cold, but this record gave me comfort, that intensity, that realness to it. It brought me in. It kept me going. And I'd walk along. I didn't care what people were thinking, what people were saying, because I had this record and I would drive my feet up the staircase after I crossed whatever it was, like Gilman. No, Gilman's on the other side of campus. I don't remember what it was, but it was some sort of, it's that road. I don't remember. It's been so long now. It's only been a year since I was in school, but it feels like a lifetime. 2 lifetimes. And listening to this album takes me back there, but it makes me feel, strangely like melancholy, but hopeful for the future. I feel it really makes you realize like you're growing up. You're gone. The version of you is still the same person, but that person's also dead. That guy's not there anymore. You're there. Those thoughts, those dreams, those aspirations, those worries, those hopes, those loves, the sex, the rock and roll, the joy, the tears, all of it, still there. And no, I wasn't living at home. I was living in an apartment off campus that should have been foreclosed. It was run down. It was sketchy. It had all these weird mirrors on the wall. Instead of having like a big thing of mirror, like a big glass wall, every wall had these little tiles that were about like a foot by a foot. And they were like glued on poorly, and they would fall down. You'd have shards of glass break falling off in the middle of the night. Super sketchy, but it was cheap rent. So me and my brother, we split it because he had now transferred down to UCSD. And our roommate, Alan, great kid, went to high school with him, played saxophone. And he actually played in Black Licorice. He was one of the saxophonists. But yeah, I would be driving at like no fashion sense criminally. And I would be driving to school every day. Cold as balls. The apartment was messy. They never cleaned anything up. But I had video games. I had fun. I had a good time. I had my band. Just getting late all the time. Didn't have a problem. Life was good. But was doing podcasts, starting to do podcasts, but also not doing podcasts. And you're like, what's the point of all this? I don't know. How am I going to navigate it? But I had this record. I had Room on Fire. I had it playing in my ears, telling me it was okay. And so I got to the point where it's like, what am I doing with my life? What do I want to do? And you're like, well, I guess I'm just doing school. That's paying the bills. It's paying things. I was working a job. I was working in a food cart out in front of the gym in San Diego in Pacific Beach. The gym. It used to be a Gold's Gym, I think 2016, 2017. They stopped being a franchise and they were their own thing, and they changed. They repainted it. John Cena used to work at it, I think, when it was still a Gold's Gym. He worked out there sometimes. You'd see him. And I was working on a food cart out in front of that gym. So I had money coming in. It was good. Life was good. I had money, had pussy, had rock shows. I mean, What else could a boy want? No, successful in school, working out all the time. But I hadn't even begun to peak. Still haven't. And I'm aware of that. And there's something interesting when you're aware of that. You're in the middle of the suck. You know, things are good, and someone would kill to be where you are, but doesn't mean you still don't have standards and expectations of yourself that are unreasonable, and that you're not going to put pressure on yourself. You're not going to put weight on yourself. You're not going to overanalyze things. You're not going to overthink. You're not going to put that weight on yourself. You're not going to be like, why isn't the band successful? I don't know how to record. And, you know, I got a drummer. I got these people. These people don't show up. They don't practice enough. And I barely practice enough. And it feels like you're trying to hold everything together and it's just barely falling apart. And it's just falling apart at the seams. And what the fuck? And you're like, I'm trying to do this podcast, but I can't do it consistently. And then you get out of school early, you go to work, you work at a business, and you think you're going to take over that business. You think you're going to buy your way into that business and maybe make partner, you know, to use a law firm analogy. And it turns out, no, they just actually just wanted you to take, you know, whatever, 40 grand a year in salary when you're like, I went to a good school. I could have got at least, you know, 50, 60 coming out, and not living in fucking Arizona, which you hate. You could have been living in fucking Ireland or Scotland or someplace you love, someplace that makes you happy, someplace that makes you feel good. You could feel heard. You could feel, you know, like you had people, you had a community, like you're building towards something. Or maybe you start doing a podcast. Maybe you start rock and rolling full time. Maybe you start doing that. But it's like, you don't know. You don't know where life's going. You don't know what's happening to you. And you're just, you know, and then you end up at the end of that whole thing, job to job in Arizona, and you realize, if I want to be a CEO, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be my own boss, no one's going to give me that. No one's going to let me have that, you know. And you don't even know that. You don't even know that at the time. At the time, you just know you haven't figured it out, and you're kind of worried. You're like, I need to be figuring this out, but it's fine enough. I can sedate myself. I can have sex with hot girls. I can play decent enough shows. I can sell enough shirts. I can work at the food cart enough. I can get in good enough shape. I got the dopamine going. I can crush it in my classes. I can get, you know, whatever, the highest GPA. I can get done with school in less than 3 years. You know, you can do all these things when you're the 190 IQ Jew like me. But it doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's okay. Doesn't mean you feel good. Doesn't mean you feel perfect. Doesn't mean you're itching, you're striving. You're just fighting, you're bashing your head against the fucking wall. You're crying, you're bleeding, you got the shitty sheets in the shitty apartment, but you don't feel like it's worth it. You're doing the thing to please your parents, because your parents made birth, and before they decided to have kids, they knew they decided my kids were going to school, and they put the money aside, and that was nice of them, that was good, but you know, you're kind of using that, and that's not their fault, that you're using that as an excuse to not figure out what you're going to do once you get out of school, and figure out what you're going to do with your life. And so you get out of school, you're 20, you're 21, you're done with college. You try and make some things work that you know have a low probability of working, but you think, you know, the upside's so good that if I can get in on this, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth the suck. You're going to have no friends. You're going to go to Arizona. You're going to reconnect with some of the kids from middle school that you know you're friends with, and they're good people and they're great, but you just don't like going, and you don't drink alcohol. You don't like going to parties. You don't like gambling. You don't like that. So what do you feel like gets you? You feel like the Strokes album gets you. You feel like Room on Fire gets you. Like right now, you won't stop. Give me some time, I just need a little time. Give me some time, I just need a little time. Give me some time, I just need a little time. Give me some time, I just need a little time. Just the one guitar and the beat. You talk way too much. You talk way too much. It's only the end. It's only the end, as you know it. And that comforts me. I feel heard. I feel understood. And I feel like even if I get super rich and successful and I'm a rock star, even within the next 3, 4, 5 years, something insane like that, I'm still gonna have this burning thing. I'm still gonna have this drive. I'm still gonna have this fire. I'll be happy, but I'm always fiery. You know, I might be happier. I might be having more fun, but I feel like the perpetual, I feel like the standard's perfection. And though I'll be happy at some point, I'll still need to rock, and I'll still make sure that I do that. And I feel like, Julian Casablanca in the Voids, he's doing that. Now, do they make some indie rock pop songs here and there? Yeah. But that shit is real. That shit is real most of the time. Eye in the sky where no eagles fly. Down, 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 down. I think I'll have that. I'll still make records like Real on Fire. I'll still make records like Agent Orange's first album, like Royal Blood's first 2 albums, like Arctic Monkey's first 2 albums, like Queens of Stone Age continues to. Queens of Stone Age continues to rock, even though I don't think they're as catchy or as, tailored to me as they were when they were doing Lullabies to Paralyze and Era Vulgares, which is their 4th and 5th records, respectively. I think those records, those hit me, those scratch an itch deep in my soul the same way Room on Fire does. Same way if you watch the Strokes performing, parts of this record live at $2 bill on MTV from whatever, 2003 or whatever, 2002. There's a recording of the Strokes playing live at $2 bill, which is a club in New York. And they're playing in the round, and they got the stage that says the Strokes. And then they're playing behind it. And then the crowd is in the round almost on these bleachers. And it feels surreal. It feels like when people are like, rock's coming back. The Hives are coming out. The Strokes are coming out. The White Stripes are coming out. They're rocking the Von Bondies. Franz Ferdinand's about to come out in 2004. Just the energy of everything is changing. It felt good. It felt right. I wasn't even there for it, but you can feel it in the room when you watch this video and you see this tape and you play it loud on a speaker. You blast it in your headphones while you're in the gym, just trying to feel right, feel good, feel everything that you're feeling. You feel the real version of you. You feel that. You finally feel it, and it's one of the only things that feels real. In a world where it's hard to find people who are like you, as people become increasingly individualistic and idiosyncratic, what else is there to do but put up a giant, flag and wave it saying, look here, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I'm going through. And you clip it and then you put it on the internet and you do a podcast and you do 33 episodes a week for 4 weeks in a row, and then you contact some sponsors, you contact some advertisers, you post a couple clips, and even if they don't do well and you only get 100 views on average, let's say you only get 10,000 views per month, so you only make $1,400 a month in revenue, even doing 130 podcasts. If the average is whatever, 75, 80, 100 views across platforms, you do these things, and I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing this all the time. I'm gonna keep doing. I'm gonna keep doing because I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna make this happen. It's going to work, and it always will work. And I'm gonna make it work. And I don't give a fuck what anyone says. And yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I'm gonna make this work. It's gonna work. And honestly, I don't give a shit. Like, can you get up and can you do the podcast? Can you come here, sit on the mic? Can you talk about things? Can you actually get what's off your chest? Oh, this song is so good. Meet me in the bathroom. That's when she said, I don't mind. Do you? It's incredible. Meet me in the bathroom is incredible. This song is amazing. No, but that's the whole thing. Can you get out there? Can you do it? Can you just keep going? You never lose. You just quit. People don't lose. They don't fail. They quit. They quit. When I listen to this record, I get nostalgia for where I am right now. I'm able to future cast the person I'm going to be because I know I'm going to keep doing these repetitions. I'm going to keep podcasting. At episode even 300, I'm in Austin. I'm having a good time. I'm in my studio apartment. But I'm having fun. I'm having good. I've done 300 episodes. I started interviewing bands. Started having fun. I started having guest time. I started talking about rock. Started having a good time. And I'm there now when I listen to this record, and I'm looking back at me right now doing episode whatever 20 or 15 out of, the 20 I'm doing now that I'm like sitting here doing them in this format, and I sit there and I think and I feel and I go, God damn, and I love that man. I love the guy who sat down and did these, and I love him so much, and I wish he had the grace, the kindness and the patience to love himself the way I love him. And I'm kind of able to integrate the love my future self has for me. And it's like, why are you being so mean to yourself? You're good. You're amazing. You're great. And I love you so much, but you can't love yourself. It's like, what's wrong with that? It's unfair. And that's a little bit of when I'm able to, kind of bring it in the moment, kind of love myself and appreciate myself. But that's only unlocked through listening to this record. And like, that's the thing is like, when I listen to these records, unless I beat it into my head, like when I listen to these records that are good, that I love, that are rock records, it brings something out of me and I reach a place. I'm a better person when I started. I have catharsis. It's therapy. It's better than therapy because therapy, you're just listening to yourself talk. Here, music is a mood altering drug. That's something Damian Keys, he's a YouTuber. He's a person who helps bands and people get their music off the ground, get their music career going, independent artists. And he said music is a mood-altering drug, and I love that. I think it's perfect and succinct. And when it comes to rock, each record is a different drug that gives you a different mood. The Strokes, for me, it's nostalgia, but for the future. I feel nostalgic about now as if I'm in the future. It's not as if I'm in the future. I'm in the future when I listen to the Strokes, looking back on now, being nostalgic for who I am today. And I just put a hand on his shoulder and say, hey, man, I love you. And that's the mood I get listening to this record. The same way I feel about that version of me walking to class from the glider port. His fucking feet hurt in those shoes. He doesn't care. I look good. Felt good. I made myself proud. And I continue to do so. So that same level of gratitude and appreciation and love and understanding I have it now. I do. I was listening to the Pixies record Trompe Le Monde around the same time. It was rotation. It was me in college. That was really my thing. It was Rush and Eminem. But that was more the second year in person. But yeah, this record is love for yourself in the future, loving you in the present. So I think if you listen to this record, I think if you integrate, if you get into it, you really get into it, and you let it hit you, and you let it take you there, you let it go all the way to the future, looking back at you now, and just being like, damn, dude, I love you. Like, why are you being so hard on yourself? I love you. Come on. You can integrate, you can pull some of that into when you turn the record off and when you walk around. You can pull that in. You can give yourself that patience, that grace, that gratitude for how awesome you are. And you can put it there. And you can integrate the self to a certain extent. And you can be forever grateful to the Strokes for giving you that. And they were doing it for themselves. But that's what they gave to me. So what do I think Gen Z will think of this record? They'll love it. or they won't care. What will boomers think? They'll like it, or they won't care. If this clicks for you, it'll click when you're where you need to be for it to hit you. Now, it's really cool. If you just like the fact that it's really cool, go watch $2 Bill, MTV, The Strokes, like 2002 or whatever. That's incredible. The lyrics, I mean, they're impeccable. It all contributes to it. Another record I really got into around this time was Television, Marquee Moon, which was one people actually compared the Strokes and were like, oh, were you, thinking about like Blondie, Parallel Lines? Were you listening to Television's Marquee Moon? What albums were you kind of inspired by? And they're like, we didn't know any of those bands or any of those records. We just were doing our own thing. And I appreciate that and I feel that. And I really get that. But those are some records you can listen to. But I would listen to this record. It's one of the greatest albums of all time. And it's one of those records that you go in and you learn something and you achieve a unique emotion that you can't achieve anywhere else. You can integrate into your soul and that genuinely heals you and builds you. Whether it's what you're doing to yourself, it's all what we do to ourselves. Do it to yourself, and that's why it really hurts. You do it to yourself, you do. And you do it to yourself. That's the song Just by Radiohead. And he says the chorus is, you do it to yourself, you do. And that's why it really hurts. It's just to do it to yourself, you do. And we only do it to ourselves. Life does shit to us, but it's the way we respond and the way we tell ourselves either that person's a villain and they're victimizing me, or I'm a victim and I'm helpless, or it's these lies we tell ourselves, these thoughts that aren't true, that make us feel this pain. And when you listen to this record and you realize none of that's fucking true, it's all bullshit. I fucking love me. And this is fucking awesome. And you embrace that gratitude, that's where you end up in a good spot. That's what's real. None of it's real. It's all real, but love for yourself and the love you can share to others and the records you can use to break through those barriers and get to people. That's what's real. That's what matters to us. So take this record and fucking blast it every day until you're sick of it. Until it's a friend you need a break of. You need a break from. Until it's a friend you need a break from. And then come back to it in 3 years. And it'll be hard not to cry. And you'll smile. And you'll be a better person. This is my second of, let's call it 6 videos on the Strokes. I might even do the EP. I'll throw the EP probably in with one of the later albums, but guys, go listen to Room on Fire. You deserve it. You deserve love, and that's regardless. Work on your actions if you think you're cruel to other people, but love yourself first, and or at least try to. And if that doesn't take, and it takes a while to start loving yourself, still start treating people with kindness and love and appreciation and gratitude. And over time, you'll build up that habit. And the way you treat other people is the way you'll treat yourself. If you truly are grateful, you truly are kind, you truly do love them, and you truly do treat them with love, you'll start to love yourself. And this album's love. It's hurt, it's pain, it's beauty, it's happiness, it's a sunshine. It's all of that. It's the hero's journey. It's life. It's love. That's what all these records are, these good records. And that's why, it hurts when some of these records aren't that good, but don't focus on that. Don't beat yourself up. Life will do that for you. You use your thoughts to build yourself up. Now, if there's criticism and you want to make changes, okay, well then your thoughts help you do that, but you keep it moving. You focus on the love. Focus on gratitude. Above all. So go listen to this record. Go listen to it. This is better than the first record. At the time, I would have said this record's better. Now, if you've listened to this record and you're like, oh, that was good, but you're also like, I don't want to listen on repeat, or you did, or whatever you did, go watch First Impressions of Earth. Go listen to the podcast I'm about to do on that. That one is magical. That is incredible. Go. Trust me right now. Right now, go watch First Impressions of Earth review podcast. Does it still hold up? Hint, yes. But it's a very different record. Very different record. This record is love for yourself and love for your fellow man and acceptance and understanding we're all perfect, but we're all also awful and beautiful and great and ugly and handsome and dashing and charming and repulsive at the same time. And who gives a fuck? It's life and we're alive. God damn it. And that's fucking awesome. And no, seriously though, it's fucking awesome. Who gives a shit? You're gonna die, okay? Who gives a fuck? Like, this is so good. We're alive. How much money do you have? How much money do you not have? Who gives a shit? You have food. You have water. You can go to the homeless shelter. You can get back on your feet. You can get down off your feet. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't know. It's up to you. Figure out what you want. For you. Not because someone else wants it from you. Not because your wife or your boyfriend or your mom or your dad or your uncle or your school or your friends want it for you. No. Do what you want to do. I'm, moving to Austin on a whim with no job lined up as of yet. And, I'm banking on the fact that I'm going to become a full-time podcaster, despite the fact that I'm banking all these videos and I'm going to put them out and I'm going to clip them and they're going to go everywhere. But that's the thing. I'm doing it for me. It's because I worked backwards and said, what do I want to get in life? I want to bring back rock. And how do I do that? Well, I need to have a megaphone. I need to have a platform where I can talk about these things and really help people, and then get people to rock and get people out there and to really build a community more than just, I like that person on Instagram. I found that person on TikTok. I went to their show. If they happen to be in my town, really bring a coalition of these people together, put them on a platform, and build a community. And so I made a company called the Rock Dynasty. You don't need to go check it out. You know what? Fuck it. Go check it out. You can make a free account. It's like a social network for rock. And then bands pay $25 a month. And they have a whole page to post other shows, but make decrees where they talk about things, make announcements, to post wanted ads, to look for people to do music videos, to look for people to do shows with, to look for new people to join their bands, to find people to join a band. People can make blog posts talking about how to start a band, how to start doing this stuff, and give instructions, and you can network with each other, and you can talk with each other and privately message, and you can do all that. And I wanted to build a place for the rock community, so I need to build a platform. I need to build a megaphone, build an audience so that I can get people to know this and so they can really take off. And if you're a band and you just want to network at first, you don't want to do the $25, I get it. You just get on there, start talking to people, start DMing people, just read their bios on their profile, go to the profile search and look at them, and or take a screenshot, post it in your story, say, if you're in the Rock Dynasty, send me a message. We want to talk. We want to make a giant group chat with everyone. Do that. And then if you get a band account, you can host that by just making your own things. But that's what I'm doing. But I worked backwards. I figured out what I wanted for myself and where I want to go in life. And I want to make sure people can continue to rock and make rock so they can get the kind of peace and deliverance and happiness that I've received from these different records. So go rock on. Right now, go check out First Impressions of Earth, my podcast on that. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you click it? Did you click on the video? Did you click on the podcast? Did you click on whatever the hell you can click on? Well, oh, you did? Well, thank you. I love you. And I'll see you there. Okay, go rock on.